Welcome back to Indy Now. April is a month when we highlight youth financial literacy. So we're learning all about allowances from Andy Mattingly from Florida Credit Union. Hi, Andy.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
This is such a great topic because I know a lot of parents are wondering some of these questions. So should parents use allowances as a tool to teach kids about money?
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, a lot of times parents are a little concerned about whether they should do that or not, but you need to find the one that works for your family. I really like the one where you're giving them an allowance, but it's also because you're giving them financial responsibility, getting them to do things. Don't really tie it to chores because you want them to be, giving of themselves and of their time, but give it because you're going to start giving them some financial responsibility. Because it's a great way to teach them to save, how to make, smart spending decisions, things like that. And, that last one, understanding needs versus wants.
Oh, that's a good distinction there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are some of the best practices then for using allowances to teach those skills?
Well, one of the big things there is you tie it to that financial responsibility, and I think as early as 6 or 7 years old, you can start giving them an allowance. And I like the weekly allowance, where it's their age plus up to $10. So maybe a 6-year-old gets $16 a week.
Okay.
But you're also asking them to pay for things that they're doing out of that.
Sure.
When they get a little bit older, like when they're 16, you may change that to monthly allowance, give them a little more money because you're giving them more responsibility. But there's two important things. Don't withhold an allowance as punishment because you didn't tie it to anything. It's about, responsibility, and that doesn't go away.
That's a good tip.
And the other thing is you have to let them spend their money no matter how they want to spend it. As long as it's legal, you got to let them do anything that they want to do. So.
Okay, got it. Oh, gosh, I'm thinking back to I was 16, just spending money on a tanning bed, just shaking my head like, oh, no.
But that's your choice. And
it was not a good one.
Well, that's okay. You learned from it.
Okay, so what are the most important money tips that then we can teach kids as they're trying to navigate through this allowance?
Well, when they're younger, we like to use this concept that there's 3 things that you can do with your money. You can spend it.
Yeah.
You can save it, or you can share it.
Okay.
So we like to say that that's a good way to start teaching them with that. And I know for younger kids, they may not even as young as 6 or 7 be using this, but this is where you can start their weekly allowance and then take it out and put it in their digital account. But 10% to share, however they want to give it to charities or things like that.
Yeah.
Up to about 40% for savings, and up to about 60% for spending. And then that way you're teaching them where the money goes and how to budget and do those things. And you can put it in their account, probably for younger kids, you're putting it in some digital wallet like Apple Cash or something for them to spend. But you can physically put the money in, then put the money in their account and take it out so you have it next week to put back in here so you don't have to keep running to the bank to get extra cash. But it's a great way to physically show them and then show them the account how it's growing.
That's true, because the visual, even right here alone, is helping with like the saving, spending, sharing. So, and it's important too, speaking of the visual, for younger kids. Why is it important to start that as a young age?
Well, it's really important at a younger age because if you're 9 or 10 and you spend, an extra $50 on a game and it's a mistake and you kind of run out of money, you can kind of fix it. But if you're 26 and you spend $25,000 too much on a car, kind of hard for your parents to get you out of that problem. You're going to have to solve it yourself. So the sooner you can start letting them make some smaller mistakes, they'll learn from those. So, they won't buy the 10 tanning beds. They bought one and decide not to buy it again,
you
right?
Don't get the tanning package.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the most important point, is that if you raise money smart kids as parents, when they get older, you have less financial responsibility for them and they can prosper when they're adults.
That is so good, and I love this, and hopefully there's some changes now, because I feel like in school, a lot of us didn't learn this, so you really have to rely on your family and your parents.
Yes.
Showing you guys right there how you can follow Forum Credit Union, and Andy Mattingly, he always has the best tips. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.